We are continuing on with lesson 4.6, focusing on example 4, which is the composition of trig functions. We compose two trig functions by working inside out. So you always start with what's inside the parentheses and move to the outside. Now, be cognizant of the restrictions on the inverse function's domain. Okay? So in example 4, we're going to find the exact value of each expression. In letter A, we're going to start with what's inside the parentheses first, which is arctangent -1. Anytime I see arctangent or tangent inverse, I'm asking myself the question, for which angle? So for which angle is tangent -1? Now, tangent is restricted to quadrants 1 and 4. Okay? So when I look at my tangent in quadrants 1 and 4, it is -1 here at -π/4. So that means I'm going to replace arctangent -1 with -π/4. Now I'm going to find tangent -π/4. Okay, tangent -π/4. Now this is regular tangent, and that means I'm going to find the ratio of the sides. So if I go to my angle, -π/4, I want to find tangent. Tangent would be -1. So tangent -π/4 is equal to -1, which is the answer to letter A. Okay. Letter B, we have cosine inverse, cosine π/2. We always start inside the parentheses first. I'm going to find cosine π/2. I'm going to go to π/2 on my unit circle. Cosine is the x value, the π/2, that's 0. So I'm going to replace cosine π/2 with 0. So now I'm asking myself the question, for which angle is cosine 0? Now, cosine is restricted to quadrants 1 and 2. So for which angle is cosine 0? I look at the x values. Cosine is 0 right here. So the answer is π/2. Okay. Letter C, I have sine inverse of 2. Okay, and then I'm going to take the sine of that value. So I'm going to start inside sine inverse of 2. So I'm asking myself the question, for which angle is sine 2? Okay, I have to focus on quadrants 1 and 4. Sine is my y value. Now when I look at all of the y values, okay, I don't see a 2. Okay, why do I not see a 2? Well, the reason is that 2 is my domain. Now, if you go back to our sine inverse curve, okay, I'm going to flip them back a page. The domain for sine inverse is -1 to 1. 2 does not fall within the domain, therefore no solution exists. Okay, and again, the reason it's no solution is 2 is not in the domain of sine inverse. Okay, and again, that domain is -1 to 1. Therefore, no solution. I cannot solve this. Okay, I would like for you to try letters D, E, and F. Letters D, E, and F. Press pause. When you're finished, hit play, and I'll go through these together. Okay, letter D. We have tangent of cosine inverse -3/2. Always start inside of the parentheses. So cosine inverse -3/2. I'm asking myself, for which angle is cosine -3/2? Cosine is restricted to quadrants 1 and 2. So cosine is my x value is -3/2 right here. Which angle is that? 5π/6. So I'm going to replace cosine inverse with 5 pi over 6. Now I'm finding tangent of 5 pi over 6. So I'm going to go to 5 pi over 6. Tangent is negative radical 3 over 3. So we have to be able to differentiate between sine, cosine, and tangent, and then the inverse of sine, cosine, and tangent. Okay, letter E, we have arc cosine, tangent 3 pi over 4. Always start inside the parentheses. Okay, I need to go to 3 pi over 4, which is in quadrant 2. Okay, find tangent. Tangent is negative 1. So I'm now finding arc cosine of negative 1. So I'm asking myself, for which angle is cosine negative 1? Cosine is restricted to quadrants 1 and 2. Cosine is my x value. It is negative 1 right here, which is my angle pi. Last problem, I have arctangent negative radical 3. So I'm asking myself, for which angle is tangent negative radical 3? Arctangent is restricted to quadrants 1 and 4. It is negative radical 3 right here, which is the angle negative pi over 3. So I'm now going to find the sine of negative pi over 3. So to find the sine of negative pi over 3, I go to that angle, negative pi over 3. Sine is the y value of the ordered pair. That's negative radical 3 over 2. Very good.